Number 2, discussion of amendment to lease assumption agreement with Deep South Investments LLC, allowing additional commercial activities at 8228 Gulf Boulevard. Mr. Walker.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is the lease on what used to be the second Tom Thumb on Navarre Beach. Deep South had assumed this lease last, I believe it was July, August. They've got a couple of subleases on the property to add a food truck that would be on the property, and then the rental of beach bikes, surfboards, kayaks, that type of thing that would also be on the property. And there's a site plan that's attached that shows where those would be configured. And typically, the lease allows any commercial activity, just the board has to approve any subleases or particular changes. So the county attorney and I have met, and this seems pretty straightforward.
Any discussion by the board? Commissioner Rob Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Richard and Shark Bites, the group, the vendors that are proposed to be using this sublease really are great partners to the community, and they make the best fish taco I've ever had in my life. I'm just going to say it. It's amazing. The Cajun egg rolls come highly recommended, so I would hope that you'd have an opportunity to stop by there at some point. I don't have an issue with them. My concern is the lack of consistency in the way of a policy for food vendors out on Navarre Beach area, and safety as it relates to the kayak rentals. Crossing the street there to get across to the beach when something's rented. I just want to make sure that the safety is taken care of so we don't have an accident with somebody renting something and making their way across the street. And I'd like to just offer up as a suggestion to the board that we would put a 1-year time limit on this sublease here, and give us time to put forward a policy related to food vendors on the island. My fear is that we would have more folks requesting to do this type of activity, and just that way we could have some more consistency. There's actually a gentleman by the name of Dave Robow that I had an opportunity to meet with, and he has some really neat stuff with doing, they have metal storage containers that they convert into a really nice looking outdoor restaurant. And you know, we could look at perhaps having something like that in and around maybe the pier parking area, and we could have these food vendors in one place. It could be a really cool look. It could be a way to generate additional revenue for the county, and we would have a consistent look, and it could actually be something that would be going out for competitive bid every 1 to 2 years. So that's just what I wanted to bring forward, the safety concerns with renting there across the street, and then looking at maybe a 1-year time limit on this agreement with the understanding that we would create a more consistent policy during that 1-year time frame. And lastly, I'll say I think the board previously put out an RFP to look at this issue related to food vendors on the beach, and I don't really think that anything came of it, but I think it was a good idea that that was done, and I'd like to take this year to maybe take another run at that.
The only difference I would point out with is this is on the commercial piece of property. And anything that would be on, we've certainly been consistent in not allowing any vendors on the quote public beach portion of that or anything outside of a commercial lease. So this certainly we can do the 1 year. There's no prohibition against that, but this didn't seem to be the same thing.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Cole.
through the chair to Commissioner Williamson, I'd support you on, let's look at other things, but I think to kind of hamstring this one particular property for 1 year, it kind of, we're both in business. When you're making business plans, you want to make them for long term, and especially when you look at the beach, their profitability season is marginal. It's not an annual type thing, and you got to budget for that whole year. So I'd support you on the other, but I think on this particular case, we ought to let the leasee work with the subleases on their terms as far as how long they'd like to be there, and allow them the opportunity to make plans for at least several years. Thank you.
Any other comments? Name and address.
Tim Cohane, 1466 Homeport Drive, Navarre Beach, Florida. I'm also, as you know, president of the Navarre Beach Leaseholders and Residents Association. Yes, I have no objection to the taco stand, the fish taco stand. I live right around the corner, and they're very, very good. We had a meeting Saturday of the leaseholders. The only objection that the leaseholders would have is the word mobile truck concerned everyone. What the leaseholders unanimously voted against was allowing trucks, food trucks, to be going up and down the beach into the individual parking lots and selling food. There were concerns about sanitation and safety, et cetera, et cetera. That's the only concern. And I can also tell you, Commissioner Williamson, that the residents on the island do not want an area of mobile food stands, such as they have in downtown Pensacola. That would not be a popular thing for the residents on the island. Thank you very much.
Mr. Walker, just for clarification, in reading the backup material, the truck would be limited to the current commercial site, is that correct?
That's correct. So
we won't have to worry about moving up and down the beach, it'd be just for that site? Yes, sir. Name and address, please.
Navarre Beach. Forgive me if I fumble my words. I'm not a public speaker. I can assure everybody that this is stationary. Anybody who knows our operation now and how it was 2 summers ago at the same location knows that it does not move from parking lot to parking lot. It stays in one spot. We've been very, very blessed in the sense that we have made our location a destination point, so we don't have to go into different beach accesses and things of that nature. Everything I wanted to say, probably I'm just going to throw out the window. Anybody who knows Angela and I knows that we're not ones to brag or puff ourselves up. But I feel in this case that we have to a little bit. Shark bite now, according to different websites, example Yelp, if you're familiar with Yelp, we are the #1 place to eat in Navarre. TripAdvisor, we're #3. We have never fallen below a 94% on our health inspection. And we would like to continue a tradition we have on Navarre Beach of volunteering. We volunteer as Shark Bite with beach cleanup. We have done Autism Odyssey in the past. We would like to start doing that again. Even when it comes to tragedy on our beach, we volunteer. We volunteer on our beach to make it look good and make it a better place. And we live there too. So I'm asking you that you can consider those things as we move forward, hopefully move forward with this. That's all I got to say about that. I'm sorry, one more thing, Commissioner Williamson. Thank you for going to the, for participating the other night in our memorial service. It meant a lot to us. As far as safety, we are, in the contract that we are in with Deep South Investments, we are required to have, to carry $1 million worth of insurance on our operations. So if that, eases your mind a little bit about safety. So, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Commissioner Rob Williamson.
Yeah, the GL policies, obviously, you know, that's just the price of poker for being in business. But I'm just concerned about having visitors come here and getting across the roadway safely. I'm sure that a great number of folks will have their own truck or rental vehicle, and they'll get whatever they're going to rent from you, and they'll put it in their truck and take it to their condo for the week or what have you. I'm sure that's probably the idea behind it. But once you're in business and you're operating there, you've got a lot of activity. Folks are taking it from there. They're renting it for the day maybe, and they're just walking across the street. That was the only concern as far as safety goes. We can't afford to have a reputation of being unsafe for the visitors that are coming. And I wanted to say to Commissioner Cole, those are good points, to be sure. And maybe these are two separate issues. Maybe, you know, this is issue one, and maybe once we get past this, the board would be willing to take another look at, in commercial settings or in commercially zoned property on the beach, how we're going to address some consistency from a policy standpoint for food vendors. Obviously taking into consideration the comments from Tim and the residents out there on the beach. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just say over the years, we have had problems with folks just setting up food stands, doing different things, and so it's not an easy thing to address. But here again, this is lease site specific, it's not mobile. So any other comments?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner J.R. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Williamson, I think that is a great idea for you in the future because you're the closest to the beach, obviously being that district commissioner, to come up with a clear policy and a plan. You seem to be similar to the way that I look at things. You plan your work and then you work your plan, so I think that would be good for your area. I do think these are two separate issues. For the sake of stability, I couldn't support putting a one-year agreement on it. Just as a business person, I know I would want that stability, knowing going forward that it was something couldn't just be pulled underneath my feet in a year or two. But I do think that is a great idea for you to look in the future, since you are closest to your constituents, and come back to the board. And whatever we can do as a board to support Navarre Beach, I know we will. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Cole, do you have any light on?
I did. Mr. Chairman, our Commissioner Williamson's both going to be gone Thursday still, I believe.
Yes, we will be both in Tallahassee for Florida Association of Counties courses or conference or whatever you want to call it, and also meeting with the legislator, helping with the priorities of Santa Rosa County.
I didn't know if there was any desire from the board to go ahead and move this to a vote today, or just let it go till Thursday.
I was going to ask Commissioner Rob Williamson if acknowledging his two separate issues, if he'd be willing just to let this move forward as it's stated, and then like Commissioner J.R. Williamson said, you can continue to work with the constituents down there.
Absolutely.
Okay. We want to be able to get in business and start doing some business, so. We're going to move this as presented today to Thursday without objection. Hearing none, it passes. You understand, sir? As it's presented today, and here's what it says: discussion of amendment to lease assumption agreement with Deep South Investments LLC, allowing additional commercial activities at 8228 Gulf Boulevard. It appears now we're going to move this to Thursday. I don't hear any objection today. And then Commissioner Rob Williamson will continue to work with folks on the beach on any other issues.
Certain language, you said it's going to be moved to Thursday?
Yes.
To vote
we don't approve anything on Monday, so we just move it to Thursday.
From my understanding, two of our commissioners are going to be gone on Thursday.
As I learned earlier, it only takes, you need to count to three. And you're going to have three commissioners here, and I don't want to, speak too. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I think you're looking good.
Okay. Thank you very much. That gives me a little.
When you see heads
I can
nodding,
sleep tonight.
sit down.
You're winning.
All right. This has been moved to Thursday. Number 3.